people really isn't my thing, so bear with me, and my face will probably turn bright red, but, so, let's see. I then thought about the times in my life when I had given speeches to large groups. The first 3 speeches that came to mind were my 3 younger brothers' weddings. They were speeches that meant something to me and my family. I then thought about this group of people I'm standing up here with today. And these 10 people have become my family away from home. So, since we'll be parting ways after this ceremony and starting our new journeys as PTAs, I thought I would share a little bit about our adventure together. We have spent many, many hours together. I think last summer, with that brutal schedule, we had spent more hours with each other than our own families. We ate lunch together, studied together, practiced in the lab when we had breaks between classes, freaked out together about what our practical was going to be like, made runs over to QT and McAllister's if we had to get out of here, had potlucks, many texts, phone calls, emails from me with notes typed up. We've laughed together. There have been many tears from life's stressors, and we've celebrated marriages, birthdays, and a new home. I couldn't think of a better group of people to have gone through the past 20 months or so with. I think just 5 of us here started the program together. I remember that first semester of anatomy and fundamentals of physical therapy thinking, holy cow, what did I get myself into? This program is much harder than I thought it was going to be. After I survived those classes, I thought, well, I've started this and I better keep going or I'll never hear the end of it from my husband. And I knew I could do it. We then had 6 more transfer in and a few leave us, but this group right here is awesome. Another class I know I probably wouldn't have survived without this group was neuroanatomy with Dr. Saya. Just the word neuroanatomy is scary, but we all survived. Dr. Maxim's kinesiology finals and Therex manual muscle testing of way too many body parts was also almost enough to put several of us over the edge, but together we succeeded. So just a few memories about my classmates. Diane. She's great at getting us off topic, and I'll never forget her posterior pelvic tilt story. Kind of an inside joke, but you can ask her later. But whenever I think of this particular pose, it just makes me laugh. She's also a big part of getting Dr. Maxim over here to smile, I think, and relax a little bit more with us. Kathy, I kind of thought as our mother hen. She was the nurturing one. She'd share what she found on Pinterest, her recipes. Also great at multitasking with her 3 children and crazy schedule, but she always liked to have fun. And she always made things seem like everything would be fine. Stacy, I won't forget her laugh, and she was always smiling and always in a good mood. I was often her practical partner, and she was always a trooper and would go first, so I wouldn't have to. Rachel, she gets the award for finishing test first. She would say, well, either you know it or you don't, which is true, but I always sat there and for some reason thought the answers would just magically come to me. We have shared many texts and had phone calls about what we should study, what we would think will be on the practical, talked about clinicals, and celebrated when another week of our clinical had passed. We also enjoyed many lunches at McAllister's together. Matt liked to just do his own thing or listen to his sports radio in the car. He finally realized after a couple semesters with us that we actually were okay to hang out with. He also drove me crazy because he would say, yeah, I studied a little, or I got up early and studied, and then he'd do well on the test. But overall, a great guy. Dan, who's not here tonight, would call himself Daniel the Cocker Spaniel. He was great at taking naps between classes. He also kept me entertained when I sat next to him in class. And he could provide something for us to laugh about when it was needed and never seemed stressed or worried about anything. Tara Lynn and Jessica, I'm just going to put these 2 together. These 2 were kind of like one, but it was neat to see how they formed such a special relationship and friendship that I think will last a long time. But separately, they both are very sweet girls. Tara Lynn, who's our baby of the class, has gone through a lot during our time together, but always came to class with a smile and was ready to take on a challenge thrown her way. And Jessica, I was amazed with being able to balance her time at the bistro with her son and doing so well in school. Eric, who isn't here tonight, if you were his lab partner, he kept you focused, especially Diane. Also, a great quote from him one day When time was being wasted on something besides class, we had to be out here for something else, he said, I just need to touch someone. Meaning, let's get this lab started so we can practice what we need to know. But he was very focused and determined to learn all that he could. And lastly, Sarah. We would say, don't worry, Dr. Maxim or Dr. Saya. Sarah will be here. It's not 7 minutes after class yet. She was always great to listen to, and she would just state what she felt about something in particular. And she was often the voice of the class, but was always easygoing and fun to be with each day. So, as this group has been an important part of my journey, there are 2 other people up here who have helped us along the way as well, Dr. Maxim and Dr. Saya. Without these 2, we would not be standing here today and would not be graduating from an accredited program. They worked countless hours on getting us accredited, making sure we were learning the skills we needed for the future, and encouraging us throughout the way. These 2 have very different personalities, but they complement each other well, and it was obvious that they did what was best for us as students. Even though we may have not liked it, they expected a lot from us, challenged us, and respected us as people, and you didn't want to disappoint them. And a quote we will never forget from Dr. Saya is, neuro is neuro is neuro. Dr. Maxim, I think, thought once we heard it once, it was instilled in our brains. I think his brain might work like that, but mine definitely isn't. And let's see. Last but not least, all of you sitting out here. I know we couldn't have completed this program without your love and support. Many of us are married, many have kids, significant others, jobs on top of going to school. So without your support, many of us would not have been able to go back to school or begin school. I'm sure many of you are just as excited as we are today so that you don't have to put up with us studying and being stressed out. I'm sure many of you, unfortunately, there is a couple more months of studying, but when we all pass on July 8th, it will all be worth it. Thank you to all who have changed their schedules, helped babysit kids, for our cheerleaders, and for those of you who are guinea pigs for when we needed to practice goniometry. I know Kathy's kids were great at this, and I think Diane tried to get her kids' teenage friends to be guinea pigs, just to embarrass her kids. I know I couldn't have done this program without the support of my husband, kids, and parents. My husband has put many, many miles on his car getting home so he could get the kids off the bus, and many days heading back to work, changing his meetings, practices, and schedule to accommodate mine, running our kids to practices and keeping them entertained when I needed to study. He was also my biggest cheerleader, encouraged me to do the best I could, and enjoy this road I had taken. I'm glad that he did this and that I get to be a part of this growing program. I wish all of you the best with your futures, and to Dr. Saya and Dr. Maxim, I wish you the best success with the program you've created.